Yeah. 3-6, mafia.
Whoa, hey, yeah. Whoa, say what? Whoa, 3-6, mafia. It's going down. Y'all know what time it is. We ain't playing with you. In the club, in the street.
Welcome to the 5th episode of Season 2 of No BS. It's a great day to be here, everybody. We got some special good things to take care of, so we have Isaiah Freeman and Stephen H. weighing for us today. But I'm going to start this off. Stephen, how are you feeling on this glorious Thursday evening?
Hey, man, I'm feeling great to be joining the No BS team. Once again, Callan unable to join us because of his move. Hey, Callan, thanks for tuning in, man. I hope you enjoy this great show here, and I hope your friend makes it safely through the move, man. Forest fires in California are dwindling down. It's a great day, man. It is definitely a great day, and I understand there's a birthday celebration under the way for my 24th birthday.
Yes, sirree. That sure thing is a thing. Isaiah, how are you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm feeling better, man. I am feeling better after the bitter defeat that I tasted last night to this man on my right-hand side, Stephen Wang. I went to his house last night to play NCAA. We played Georgia versus Utah State. I was Georgia, and the rule was he could only run the football. He couldn't do anything else. He couldn't pass. He couldn't do an onside kick. He only could run the football. That's it. He couldn't score touchdowns or he could score touchdowns, but it could only be by running the football. And he couldn't kick field goals. And somehow, some way, I lost 38-33 in the most BS game possible. I had 4 chances with 17 seconds left at the 3-yard line, and my quarterback shrunk under pressure, and I lost, giving this man yet another victory over me. This was the most bitterest defeat of my life. And, you know, yesterday I was so depressed, just so sad that I lost this way. This was even worse than me losing to him, Ohio State versus Georgia, because that Ohio State versus Georgia game, it came down to a 2-point conversion. I got a little greedy, I gotta admit. But this one, I had 4 chances from the 3-yard line to punch it in, and I failed. But I am feeling better, though. So whatever. Life is good. Forget about yesterday. It's on to a different day, and hopefully tomorrow I will whoop the birthday boy on his birthday.
Hey,
Isaiah,
so
I don't think that's going to happen.
Say, Trevor, Callan McClurg's comment captures it greatly here. Isaiah calling himself the Asian Skip Bayless might be the greatest username used in MI6 history. Well, Trevor and I got a message for you, Asian Skip Bayless, and this is what we're going to get started to start off the birthday celebrations. You guys ready? Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. Skull, 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 skull. Still keep on losing. Isaiah loses again. And again, Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. Skull, 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 skull. Skull, 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 skull. Still keep on losing. Isaiah loses again. Skull! Woo!
Damn, you're going to make me cry again, my friend.
All right. And Furman, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good, Trevor. I'm glad to be here with Steven and Isaiah, the Asian Skip Bayless. I just want to say give Steven, the biggest happy birthday here, man. Happy early birthday and tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow, so I can't wait.
All right.
Hey, Isaiah, so I got the birthday song ready for you. Actually, I got to pull it up here. But first of all, I got to say, man, thank you for this blackberry fruit pie you got for me. I'm actually more of like a chocolate / vanilla type of guy, but this is what they had available. And so I'm going to open it up and take a sweet taste of victory here, man. Beating Isaiah and getting food from Isaiah on the same day, man. Just tastes great, man. Tastes great. But Isaiah, I understand you wanted to sing the happy birthday song. Come back, man. You got to sing the happy birthday song.
Come on, Isaiah. Come back. Come back to the show.
I think we lost him.
Oh, well.
10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. Isaiah loses again. 10 games of losing. Isaiah loses again. All right, Isaiah, let's hear that happy birthday singing, man. Loud and clear.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steven. Happy birthday to you.
He sounds like he's crying while singing it, but well done, man. I love the energy. With that being said, I'm going to let Trevor take us into the topics.
I have
Happy
one
24th,
more thing.
my friend.
One more thing. Steven, this is for you. Got my Minnesota shirt, baby. Got some Minnesota love for you.
Oh, man, let's go. Hey, Trevor, as my birthday gift, man, an additional one, I love the Philadelphia 76ers theme. Perform some of it for me, man. I would just absolutely love it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 9, 8, 76ers. Here they come. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Got some love for
Yes, I love it.
Well,
Callan, this is what happens when you're not on the show. The show completely goes off the rails, my friend.
This is like wild sports talk, but it's not.
The most full BS start to a show ever. Not no BS anymore. It needs to be called all BS, as Shree would say. But hey, Furman, what do you got prepared for my birthday, man? Come on.
I can't tell you, Steven, because I think I'm going to beat you in NCAA. Are you going to play Minnesota?
Ooh,
I'm going to play your rivals.
Challenge, man.
Michigan.
We have a new dance GIF thanks to Trevor. Oh, Callan chiming in on the comment section. By the way, Trevor, you can show these guys comments in the comment section by going to comments and clicking on them. And then you click again to make them disappear. So there we go. The Asian Skip Bayless is back highlighted. Man, this has been a beautiful, beautiful start to my birthday, guys. I just really want to thank all of you guys for coming out here. I already know the greatest birthday gift is actually going to come from Furman, who's going to have to come in a freaking ICU jumpsuit to get to my house. I mean, his parents, they got that strict mentality towards what's going on right now, just like my parents. So, Furman, give a great gift.
I think we're having.
Looks like we lost Furman for a bit, but I'll let you get into the topics, Trevor.
All right. So, since we all seen what's happening going around in the sports world and all the different sports boycotts, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the league. So, Isaiah, I want some of your reactions towards some of the boycotts that ended up happening in the sports world the other day.
Yeah, so y'all, let's stand up right now and give a standing ovation to these NBA players for what they did yesterday. I mean, my God, man, these players are the bravest people in the world. These NBA players, in choosing to stand up and walk out to protest the horrific shooting of Jacob Banks yesterday, and thus boycotting the respective playoff games, took a lot of guts and a lot of courage, because they knew they were going to get criticized big time. They knew they were going to lose a lot of money. They knew they were going to lose a lot of fans and also a ton of sponsorships, but they didn't care, because they knew in their hearts that this was the right thing to do, and therefore they need to be applauded. So great job, NBA players. Well done. Sports is not essential. Sports is only here for entertainment. It ain't our top priority. What's going on in our country and this world is the top priority. I know a lot of friends that are African Americans, such as my co host here on No BS and my fellow colleague on the MI6 Sports Network, Trevor Williams, as well as my other co host on Wild Sports Talk, and also my other fellow colleague on the MI6 Sports Network, Jonathan Mathis, and also my guys, James Head and Gordon Kaufman, Brian Gatumbi, Gabe Jackson, to name a few. These are amazing, kind, and compassionate people. I love them to death. They have impacted my life in ways far beyond imaginable. They have made me not only a better worker at my jobs, but they've also made me a better person through our daily interactions. And I pray every day for these guys to be safe and that they don't have to ever experience what happened to Breonna Taylor or George Floyd and now Jacob Banks. We need change in our world. We've been talking about change for so long. Every time we talk about it, it's just talk. That's all it is. There's no change that comes after it. This time, it must be different. It has to be different. Action needs to happen in our world. Right now, in our country, it's full of divisiveness and also full of hate. What we need to do to fix our country and to turn this country around is to go back to the golden rule that our mama and papa taught us when we were young, and that is to treat others the way you want to be treated. If we treat everybody the way we want it to be treated, I guarantee you right now that our world would be a much better place. Remember, everybody, love trumps hate.
Very good, Isaiah. I couldn't agree more with you on that. Like I said, during this time, we need to come together as a community and be able to, support each other's, and those that we see injustice, we need to speak up and, just tell people that you can't be doing some of these activities. And seeing the sports industry taking a step further and stopping all their games that they had that day was really a huge statement, saying that this is unity. This is going to take everybody to make a systematic change. So this is steps in the right direction, and we hope so when it comes for the election, we can, sort things out and get justice for the people who were not able to receive justice and things in that matter. But for a minute, I want to hear some of your takes on your reaction toward the sports boycott and how you're feeling in all of this.
Yeah, I agree with Isaiah. I think all these sports players did a great job yesterday to really come together and really send a message out to everyone else that, we're going through some important times, and it's important that everybody has to come together in such divisiveness and racial profiling, and really, send out the good message to everybody that, we need more peace and unity, and that, as basketball players in the NBA especially, it is important to play basketball, but they're reminding us that at the end of the day, it's just a job where they're just really being paid to play basketball. But what's more important is, what matters more amongst the communities, amongst our society. What happened to Jacob Blake was definitely, it definitely caused a lot of, public outcry and just everybody coming together to really protest the injustice, and also that coming together part for peace and to restore justice. That's something that's really well spoken. Also, I'm glad that the sports community is also doing their part, and their boycotts yesterday is definitely taking a step ahead, and really really appreciate their efforts into reaching out to everyone and supporting the matters, and also it's everything that's been transpiring. I just hope that I know that Isaiah said that they could be criticized. These players could be losing sponsorships and criticized for what they did, but at the same time, they're still reminding us that playing basketball is not important as what matters more with the community and everyone else out there. So I'm glad they did their part, and not just for the basketball community, but also for some of the baseball teams and hockey teams that postponed their games yesterday.
All right, that is fantastic. But we're going to also dive a little bit more deeper into this topic, and that the NBA recently today, stated that they're going to resume back into playoffs after they ended up meeting this on Thursday morning today. So what are your takes on them resuming only a day of boycotting? What does this actually mean? Is one day boycott enough, or do they need to, take the rest of this week off and resume next week? So Isaiah, what do you think about that?
Well, this morning when I woke up to the news that Woj tweeted out that they were resuming the playoffs, I actually was really shocked because given after last night's reports that we got from Woj, Mark Spears of ESPN, as well as Jeff Goodman and a bunch of other credible reporters, they said that the Lakers and the Clippers had reportedly voted to boycott the entire season. So I thought that the season was dead because if you have two like the West two top teams out of the playoffs, like Udonis Haslam said, how can you have a playoff with the West top two teams out? It just doesn't make any sense. If you had a playoff with the West top two teams out and you had like guys that are very powerful, and LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard boycotting, I think you would have a bunch of other people follow as well, because that just shows you how powerful LeBron and Kawhi are. But I'm very surprised by this. As a basketball fan, I'm really happy that the playoffs will continue, because it means that my Lakers are on track to win our 17th championship. But as a sports analyst, I'm just like, my mindset is I kind of don't get what's the point of a 1 day protest, because, or not a 1 day, but maybe a 1 or 2 day protest, because you're just like protesting one game and then you're going to be back. So it's like, for me, I don't understand it, but maybe it's like they want to just like this for everybody to step back and reflect on what's going on and then go back to playing. But you know what? I don't understand it, but I'm happy that, basketball is indeed coming back.
Very good take, Isaiah. Like, I agree with you. Like, a 1 day protest isn't enough, but at the same time, it's like we're close towards the weekend. So in reality, they could stop and resume next week. So they could shift games back in that sense. But we'll see what ends up happening tomorrow. See if they decide to, resume play, or, they're just going to wait. But Furman, I want to see what you think of what only boycotting one game actually means, and is it really enough just only one game to be boycotted?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I feel like boycotting one game, I feel like that's not enough. I think if you were to really boycott, the game or the season, or at least if you're just going to boycott the NBA, I think having at least the entire week to reflect on, what's been happening, and also to reach out to the fans and everyone is, I think that's more important than restarting the NBA playoffs. So with what's been going on, I think even if you restart the games like immediately, probably like tomorrow, I think LeBron brought a great point. There has to be more done to it with not just the players, but also how could the staff and the owners continue to reach out and also spread awareness, of everything that's been going on. And I think throughout the meetings, if they could figure out a way to really push the next step of, spreading the awareness instead of just, putting up the Black Lives Matter sign on this playoff stadium, or having social messages on the back of their jerseys. They could figure something out more to it. Then this boycott would really matter, and it would be more important to just have this 1 day to figure everything out if they come up with a solution. But since the Clippers and the Lakers opted to vote out of the NBA season, to boycott the season, I think this really does lose meaning to the playoffs in general if that were the case. Like Isaiah said, if you have the top two teams out of the playoffs, there really isn't any point of competition. Like, what does the championship really mean to anyone if your best players, the best teams are out of the league. So I think this has more to do with just what the league decides, but obviously the players that decide, like LeBron, Kawhi, those are essentially important to the to the current status of the NBA playoffs. And finally, I think just throughout everything that's been happening, a lot of players did choose to opt out of the NBA season before the bubble in order to support the Black Lives Matter cause, more specifically after the George Floyd incident. So I think this was also a time where players really had to decide whether or not it was worth to sacrifice all their time since July to get into the NBA bubble, but also now that they're ready in the playoffs, is it really worth to lose all that time and effort to get to the playoffs? So I do think there is kind of an understanding here as to why the meetings didn't really lead to anywhere. There's a couple of conflicts here and there, but at the end of the day, I still think that everybody, every player and staff that were in the meeting understands that we're going through an important time right now in our society, and everything that is happening now is more important than these basketball games that are being played. So that's my stance on the one-day boycott.
Awesome, great take. I wanted to add to that it's going to really come down to the owners and the players to continue to influence their community and be like, advocate and protect people in that sense, and just using your voice when you're able to can. Because when only one team does it, it's not a strong enough voice. And when the sports industry decides to come together and they be saying one unanimous voice, and the owners will agree to this, and other people say, once you have one large voice, it's a force to be reckoned with. And there's always a strength in numbers and power in numbers. So if you're able to get that and get people behind it, that's how you start to create change. And this is almost like a catalyst. Though that only one-day boycott happens, it shows that the sports world can easily come together at a moment's notice and be able to say, we're not playing sports today. And this needs to almost sort of continue for more change to happen, more activisms and stuff like that. And that means, so I think we're starting to see almost a change in, I guess, the infrastructure as well as the political spectrum and all of the sports and, I guess, things going around the world. And that matters. So let's see how this unravels for the next future, I guess, in the future weeks to come in that sense. But this is a great way to, close off this segment, that we need to come together to able to satisfy. Yes, Isaiah.
I just have one last thing to add before we close this topic, and that is, if you want to see change, go vote on election day. That's the only way you're going to influence change. Vote, vote, vote. Because if you don't vote, then all this talk is meaningless. So go vote on election day.
Spot on, Isaiah. Steven, you want to say something?
Yeah, I agree with Isaiah here. If you want true change in the country, you have to express it through voting and voicing your public opinion. Love what the players are doing here. Respect them. Much love to their friends and families. But, guys, I do want to get into our hot take segment, if that's okay.
Oh, sure. Go for it.
Yes. So, guys, for our hot take segment here, we have Trevor and Martin going head-to-head in the first round. We had our first round matchup between but last night, with Isaiah advancing between Isaiah and me, Isaiah won with the hot take that Lonzo Ball is a top 4 point guard and he's better than Kyrie Irving. Isaiah, before you finish dancing here, I do want to get your justification for your hot take because we didn't manage to get that off last time.
Yeah, so my hot take was, I said that Lonzo Ball is a top 4 point guard in basketball. I said this a while back. I said he's a top 4 point guard in basketball, and that I would take him over Kyrie Irving. I'm not saying like in terms of talent he's better than Kyrie. The reason why I think he's better than Kyrie is because he's got all the other things that Kyrie doesn't. He's a great leader. The guy is a great passer. He's a guy that a lot of people want to play with, like he influences winning, just like LeVar Ball said. Kyrie Irving, when you look at him, he doesn't really influence winning. When he's by himself, like we saw with the Boston Celtics, or we saw this year with the Brooklyn Nets, those teams were better without him than with him. That just goes to show you that Kyrie doesn't influence winning. And also, Kyrie's a great scorer, but in terms of all the other stuff needed to being a point guard, he doesn't have it. Lonzo has it more, better than him.
All right, Isaiah. And I want to provide justification for my take in that first round matchup. My take was that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the biggest choker in the NBA, and he's done nothing in the playoffs. Let me explain, guys. This guy has so much hype about being possibly the best player in the world. And first of all, before we go into Giannis, how many times have we heard the phrase, X and X is now the best player in the world, it's no longer LeBron James, or blank is the best player in the world, look at what the season he's having. Some respect on the King's name, guys. He is the king. They were wrong about Durant. They were wrong about Steph Curry. And let me tell you, they are Giannis again right now. These guys were never the best player in the world. LeBron James still has a firm grip on the throne. Put some respect on that guy's name. And before or that he doesn't have he had already carried a sorry Cavs team to the NBA Finals. Yes, they got swept by the Spurs, but at least that guy made it past the East. At least he won the East. Can Giannis Antetokounmpo even hit a three, let alone win the East, man? This guy's so overrated, overhyped. The Greek yogurt is turning into the frozen yogurt habitually during the playoffs. And the last thing I'm going to say about Isaiah is if you got to laugh during your hot take, that shows how much belief you have in it. And that ticker, the Asian Skip Bayless, that says it all, guys. But now we're going to get into today's hot takes matchup. We went into a long rant here. Let me get into today's before I get your thoughts, Isaiah. So the competition is between Martin Garcia, who is the marketing expert for our MI6 Sports Group and the designer of our website. Shout out to you, Martin, from Fresno. It says, what is a hotter take? LeBron James is not a top 4 player in the NBA, or Devin Booker is going to the Orlando Magic. Trevor's take obviously being that Booker is not going to Minnesota. He's not going to Los Angeles. He's going to the Orlando Magic. So, guys, be sure to comment down below and vote. Which one is a hotter take between LeBron James is not top 4 and Devin Booker going to the Orlando Magic?
So I'll get into my hot take. I'm just going to say it out there. Devin Booker joining the Orlando Magic will be like a young, vibrant team with excitement, thrills, and chills right there. Let's go into the Orlando Magic roster. They have Aaron Gordon, Mo Bamba. He has a song name after him. You're telling me you don't want a person with a name after a song? So I'm just saying this makes perfect sense. Devin Booker to add to the excitement. They have Michael Carter-Williams. It's just going to be like a fun atmosphere. A young, dominant team that could rise in the East, can challenge the Pacers, could challenge the Miami Heat, could beat the Boston Celtics, but they'll probably get swept because we all know what happened to the 76ers. But, the excitement that they would bring each and every night and the threes. Devin Booker had a phenomenal bubble experience. Imagine him being added to the Orlando Magic, just being added. Boom, right there, guys. The Orlando Magic would be a great team to watch each weekend, and just the excitement that they can bring. That's why this is an amazing hot take, because it's so great. I want this to happen, guys. This is going to be a reality for me if it does.
And Gabe Jackson says, D-Book, Trevor, I'm sorry. He's not going to Orlando Magic to
I don't know
form
what
the
you're talking
greatest shot-chucking super team of all time. I mean, Vucevic, he can jack him up. So can Gordon, and so can Booker. But he's going to my Minnesota Timberwolves. Ooh!
No.
Yes, he is,
You
man.
need the
He's
hocus
going to my
pocus.
Timberwolves, man. And before I take my leave again from the show, I do want to mention, guys, that poll is up on Twitter. It's up on Isaiah's Facebook stream. And right now, Martin Garcia is leading Trevor by a vote of 57% to 43%. So, guys, take Isaiah's advice here. If you want to see Trevor through to the next round, vote, vote, vote.
Help
Wait,
me out. I need all the votes I can get.
Steven, before you leave,
Well,
I need to respond to your point about Giannis, or not Giannis, LeBron James. You said we have heard so many years this and that guy is better than LeBron. And put the name on the king or whatever you said. I'm here to tell you right now. I don't think Giannis
the
is
king.
better. Yeah. I don't think Giannis is better than the king. I don't think Devin Booker or anybody, these guys are better than the king. Heck, I don't even think LeBron James is the best player on the planet right now. The best player on the planet right now after these playoffs or during these after what I've seen in the playoffs is Luka Doncic. Put some respect on Luka Doncic's name. This guy is the European Michael Jordan. He can do. He's Stephen Curry from 3. He's got fantastic handles. The guy has one of the best Euro steps in NBA history. He's one of the best players right now. And for I'm concerned, Luka Doncic, in my opinion, right now is the best player on the planet after what he's done in the playoffs.
All right, what happened last?
Gotta love it. Furman, you were about to say something.
I mean, the Clippers scored 154 on the Mavericks, man. So is Luka really the?
Gotta love our studio producer, Steven.
Go on, Furman. No, I'm done talking about Luka. He's a great player, but he's not the best. I mean, Kawhi is probably one of the best, and I can prove to you he's better than Luka. Like he's a 2-time Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Can Luka beat any of that besides his step back threes?
Yeah, but the problem is right.
That's your
right
answer,
now,
Furman. He can't do it.
Go ahead, Steven. You can respond.
I was just saying that Shaswada, a live viewer over here, says cap. So he agrees with Furman and me. Luka ain't the best, man. He's not the European Michael Jordan. Get out of here.
Let's move on, Trevor.
All right. Now we're going to venture, still staying with the NBA. I think most of our segments for tonight is going to stay with the NBA. But our second topic will be the Lakers are pursuing Victor Oladipo this offseason. Me personally, I just don't think they need more guard talent. They just have a lot of people on that roster, but at the same time, a lot of them have been injury prone. So getting another player as a guard, like that team is loaded with star players. Why do you need another potentially good player to join that team? Isaiah, I want to hear your hot take on this, topic, I should say.
Trevor, I like you, man, but I got to respectfully disagree. The Lakers should absolutely try to trade for Victor Oladipo this offseason. The reason being is that Victor Oladipo is way better than everyone on the Lakers roster not named LeBron James or Anthony Davis. He's extremely explosive. He's a great three-point shooter. He can go out and get his own shot. He can handle the ball. He can run an offense. That would take the pressure off LeBron James when LeBron James needs to sit down. Victor Oladipo can run the offense. If the Lakers can somehow, some way, with the assets that they have, that first round pick in 2020, Kuzma, and whatever that you have to try to get Victor Oladipo, if Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office can somehow get Victor Oladipo, this would be a guaranteed 18th, 19th, and maybe even 20th ring for the Los Angeles Lakers. Imagine a big three of Victor Oladipo, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. That's going to be a younger and better version of LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. That's how potent this Laker team is. So, if my advice to Rob Pelinka would be, hey, do whatever you have to do to get Victor Oladipo, because right now we're on even footing with both the Clippers and the Rockets. Getting Victor Oladipo will elevate us over those two teams and make us prohibitive favorites in the Western Conference for at least the next 2-3 years.
All right, to continue off of that, Furman, I'm going to ask you this. What would the Lakers have to get rid of for Victor Oladipo to be added to the Lakers?
First off, I like to just say it out here. Like, I don't agree with what Isaiah said. Like, what are you going to get rid of for Victor Oladipo? Well, we don't need him. Victor Oladipo, he's a great player. I agree with Isaiah. He's got a great shot. He could really run an offense. But Victor Oladipo, like Trevor said before, he's been injured. He just got back from injury, and this is going to be probably a sign and trade, if not just a simple trade. He's probably way too expensive to be on the Lakers anyways. And even if he knows how to run and facilitate an offense, we already got our point forward on our team, and probably one of the greatest of all time, LeBron. So we don't need a guy that could play the same role as LeBron can. And I think for Victor Oladipo, I don't really see him as a fit for the Lakers, so I can't really think of any players that I would personally give up for Victor Oladipo. What I would say is we do need a player that can shoot better if they're wide open. We gotta get some players that, if they're wide open for three, they gotta stop shooting bricks like Danny Green or KCP in the playoffs. So any players that can step up to really hit consistent clutch shots, that's going to really do it for the Lakers. I don't think the Lakers really need any other player to facilitate their offense or fulfill their big three with AD and LeBron. So that's my take on this.
I feel you on that every step of the way. But just looking at, like you said, their shooting percentage, you could see in the bubble, their shots were so bad, and it just was painful to watch. And that's how they ended up blowing most of those games in the bubble. And that should not be happening when you have all that raw star talent on your floor. But, like, I think if they're trying to get rid of one player, I think you can try to get rid of your players that you have a lot of injury prone who can't really complete that full season. Those players that want to do a lot of load management, you could try to get rid of some of those players to try to change up some of the minutes throughout, giving like LeBron James some rest, AD some rest here and there, to try to change it up. Maybe go a little bit of small ball. It really depends. You could also probably get rid of, Rondo or Dwight Howard in that mix to, change something up, get some draft picks here and there, bring some fresh new talent. So the Lakers aren't rebuilding, but they can just end up reloading in the long run. But Isaiah, I want you, try to, any other final, I guess, topics to close out Victor Oladipo for the Lakers trying to pursue in this offseason.
Yeah, I got two things. Number one, Furman, Victor Oladipo plays great off the ball as well. So I think that he would be a great fit for us, and he would be a major upgrade over like the shooting guards that we have right now. And Danny Green, who next year is going to be a year older. He's already like a shell of himself, and he's going to be a year older. So I think the Lakers should definitely try to get rid of him. And he's also a bigger and better upgrade over KCP. So that's why I think Victor Oladipo would be a great trade for the Lakers. Plus, he's only got 1 year left on his contract. So if you get him, you're basically, I don't know like what the pay. I think the Pacers are going to probably try to get a large haul for him. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a large haul for him simply because he's on a 1 year deal. And with the coronavirus pandemic impacting the nation right now, finances are going to be tight for every team. So I think if you're the Lakers, this might be your best chance to try to get Victor Oladipo out of Indiana. And in terms of your question, Trevor, of what's it going to take, I think it's going to definitely take the Lakers 2020 first round pick, which I think is in the mid-20s range right now. And then it's probably going to take a Kyle Kuzma, because Kyle Kuzma is a young up-and-coming player that the Pacers could try to rebuild their team and build around. And then maybe like a Danny Green to like offset some of the salary. So, I mean, I think Green, Kuzma, and that 2020 first round pick is a start for a package to try to get Victor Oladipo.
And Furman, do you have any final takes on Victor Oladipo?
Well, I think Victor is a really great asset to any team. So if he has 1 year left of his contract, I think any team would benefit. I've seen this guy play. He knows how to really communicate on offense and be really productive when healthy. Like he sees, as a shooting guard, he sees the field like a point guard, and he shoots like a star player. Like I would really consider him. To any team that needs developing, I wouldn't necessarily put him into a team that's already developed or already have like a playoff or championship potential. So I would put Victor at a team where there's young guys and they're probably starting to get there and really becoming a solidified team overall. So that's where I would place Victor.
Awesome. All right, we're going to start into our third NBA topic and final NBA topic for tonight before we hit into that lovely Power 5 segment. Oh, Steven also lovely comment. He says Victor Oladipo is washed as AF. Come on, Steven, give him some love a little bit. Come on, my friend. But yes, question 3 is, who has a better future? The Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics? This is a very heated discussion. It really depends on how you end up looking at this picture and how you determine the word future and what that actually looks like. So Isaiah, I want to hear, what do you think in this matter?
All right. So first of all, I just want to say I am so tired and sick of all these people hyping up the Boston Celtics like, oh, they're gonna win a championship, or like some people even are hyping them up like they are actually contenders in the NBA. I think the Boston Celtics are one of the biggest pretenders in the NBA. They have Jason Tatum, who's a great player. Jaylen Brown, I think he's overrated. Kemba Walker, he's all right, but I don't think he's going to get you to the top. And then after that, they have a bunch of nobodies. So I think for me, like, you're not going to win with Enes Kanter or Semi Ojeleye. No disrespect to them, but you're just not going to win with those guys. So I want the media to stop hyping up the Boston Celtics simply because I think they're extremely overrated. But in terms of your question about who has the better future, I'm going to go with the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat this season have been a major surprise for everybody. The Heat coming into this season, a lot of people didn't even think they're going to make the playoffs. They had Jimmy Butler, but nobody knew of Duncan Robinson. Nobody knew about Tyler Hero. Nobody knew about Kendrick Nunn. They had Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic, but this team was like, it wasn't like that good of a team. But it wasn't that bad. So people didn't really know where to place them. But guys like Duncan Robinson, guys like Tyler Hero have really stepped up this season and been a major key component of the Miami Heat. And listen, the Miami Heat, I think, could get to the Eastern Conference Finals because they have a star in Jimmy Butler who can close out games, who's been there, done it. They have great three-point shooters in Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, who went off in that final game against the Indiana Pacers. They've got a young center who I think is one of the best in Bam Adebayo. And then they've got a veteran point guard in Goran Dragic, who has seen everything to see in the NBA. So they got experience. They've got youth on the team. They've got a lot of talent. And they've also got great defenders also in Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder, who they picked up at the trade deadline. And let's not forget this. This Heat team, with like the pieces that they have right now, they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, like I said earlier, and they're going to have a ton of money to spend in the offseason when guys like Victor Oladipo and Giannis Antetokounmpo become free agents. So I think for me, the Heat are the team that have the brighter future over the Boston Celtics because, yes, Boston does have a lot of key pieces, but in terms of the budget, Boston is strapped with Gordon Hayward. They're strapped with Kemba's massive contract. So that's gonna limit them in terms of being in the sweepstakes for a Giannis or a Victor Oladipo or another superstar in the coming years. So for me, it's definitely got to be Miami.
Furman, I want to hear your hot take on it. Who has the better and brighter future in the NBA in the Eastern Conference? I want to hear your take.
This is a really tough question because I can't really decide between the Celtics or the Heat. Now, right now, as of now, I think the Celtics definitely have the better peak as of having a better like a better future to their team because they already have a core with developing chemistry. Like I know Isaiah thinks Jaylen Brown might be overrated, but I think him along with Jason Tatum, these guys were draft prospects for Boston, and look how it worked out for them as young players. It worked out really well, and these guys are developing into great great players and also great leaders into their team. I honestly feel like Kyrie Irving did deter these guys' progresses like slightly, but I think without them, these guys are working a lot better together. And now they've got Kemba Walker out of the free agency, so this team has a great offense, and I think if as long as they're all healthy, they'll have a lot of ways to score. And let's not forget about Gordon Hayward. Even if he seems like a person that might take out a lot of caps from the Celtics salary, I still think altogether all these players can still run well. And I gotta give a lot of credit to Brad Stevens for really putting this team together. And just like I said in the previous podcast, the Celtics are really putting in the process. And look at what the 76ers did with their first picks. The Celtics chose the right players. They got the young core to get it started. And I think they're going to get better every year. Now, my only issue with the Celtics is that we've seen their main issues with their team. Their offense struggles a lot. And at times in the playoffs, they might not shoot well when they really need to win games. Last year against the Milwaukee Bucks, they had Kyrie healthy. They couldn't get it done, lost 4-1. And then 2 years ago, I know this might seem old, against the Cavs, they did not have Kyrie. They had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum developing on this team. They were up 3-2 against the Cavs, and they fell short of the NBA Finals. So I think that was their peak there in the last 2 years. They're running out of cap space to really find a better player. So they really have to, to show up this year, especially in 2020 right now. If the Milwaukee Bucks are going to advance to the conference finals, the Boston Celtics have to play this out and really ball out and give their best shot out there. So I'm going to move on to the Heat now. I know these guys are, they're a huge topic right now. They swept the Pacers, and no one really expected them to really come out as one of the top teams in the East. These guys, to me, even in 2019, I thought these guys were not going to make the playoffs, and I also bashed Jimmy Butler for signing with the Miami Heat after everything he's gone through. I was like, how could Jimmy Butler sign with a team that couldn't, that literally has nobodies and can't develop? And you literally just left, the 76ers and the Timberwolves, which has, a lot of great players, and you're going to sign, and you're just going to take all your time and dedication to sign with the Heat. Well, I guess I'm wrong now, because the Heat, these guys have a lot of potential, and their offense is just really, really crazy. And, I really love watching this team play. But I do have a main issue with this team, which is why I kind of feel like the Heat are like a risky team to talk about in terms of the future. They have way too many role players. And Isaiah pretty much named every single role player in this system. They're literally an offensive system set up with Goran Dragic, Bam, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Kendrick Nunn. These guys, that you've seen them go off for, having really good shooting days, but at the same time, who's really their star player on this team? Yes, you could say they have Jimmy Butler, who is supposedly the star player that signed with this the Heat organization. But if you really watch the games really closely in every Miami Heat game, Jimmy Butler is literally just a product of this Heat system. Just like Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and everyone, he's just working well along with the Heat. He is not like a person like James Harden, who literally could play an ISO game and take over the offense. Jimmy Butler is not that type of person. And for the rest of the Heat players, I feel like these guys, like I said, they're just part of a system. There isn't really a star player, and I don't want to disrespect Jimmy Butler. He's a great player, but once that Heat offensive system runs into problems and stops working, you're going to see a lot of these numbers struggle for Jimmy Butler as well as the rest of these guys. And I like to point out one particular player, which is Kendrick Nunn. He had a really strong start to the season for the Miami Heat, but as you've seen in the past, in the past few games at the bubble before the playoffs, they had to take him out of the entire rotation because they did not know how to use him. So this is going to be one of the major issues I believe the Heat are going to run into with all their players, regardless of their playing potential right now. Like, I honestly can't see any star players, coming out from all of these, all of these core players on their offensive system right now. I mean, Kendrick Nunn and Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, these guys are having the rookie seasons. They could have a strong, they could have a peak in the future, but I don't really see who's going to break out to be a star player. And finally, I think, to solve all these problems, if the Heat really want to be, better contenders, they got to have a superstar player on their team, and to really, rely on in case their offense doesn't work. So that's my take on the Heat. That's their only step they need in the off season. If they are to become a championship contender, they just need a superstar player as like an emergency plan in case everything doesn't work according to their game plan. They can have a player to rely on.
Fantastic take, Furman. Like, you hit the nail on the head with a lot of that stuff. But for me personally, you gotta start looking at the teams as a whole, what they stand for, and what you've seen when they've gone through different reloading phases or rebuilding phases. For the Boston Celtics, they don't really rebuild. They basically reload. From the time they ended up losing Garnett and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, yes, they took a dip, but they were still in the playoffs. Were still contending. Though they were like a lower, like an 8th seed, stuff like that, they were still in the playoffs. Then they ended up getting Kyrie. Then they start making their way up in the Eastern Conference. And now they got rid of Kyrie. They're still at the top. They didn't really take a deficit like the Miami Heat did after they lost the super team. It just tanked. It didn't really rebound until now. Now they got all their role players, but there's still no star to put them over the top. So if you look at the long haul of it, the Boston Celtics are able to reload and continue their playoff presence. And just like the whole history of Boston, like, players are attracted to Boston. Like, you have that history. You have Larry Bird, the Raptors, the trophies. No one's really going to get that if you go to the Miami Heat. You're going to need star players to already there, or like 1 to 2 star players who are already there, and you need a third person added on top of that. So for the long haul, I think the Boston Celtics will maintain that future, that bright future, recruiting young talent that's happy to play in that lovely green and white jersey from start to finish in their career, and just trying to make an impact and being like the legends that they have in Boston. So that's where I end up taking. So I'm going to put Boston over Miami for the future. So if you look at 10 years, Boston, but if you look at like the short time frame with star players, the Heat have more star players, so they could be able to do a dent within the next 3 seasons. That's how I end up looking at it. But Isaiah, do you have any other comments you would like to add in that?
No, I think you guys both hit the nail on the head. I think that for me, I just don't see the Boston Celtics winning a championship in the next 5 years, because the East is getting really strong with teams like Milwaukee. You've got Miami on the come up. You've got Toronto. And for me, I just don't think you can win a championship with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker being like your big 3. I think that if the Celtics get a Giannis Antetokounmpo, then come talk to me. But until then, I just don't think you can win a championship right now with the core that you have. And you guys mentioned it. Like, Boston's payroll, they're going to be cash strapped for the next couple of years with Gordon Hayward and Kemba Walker's contract. So that's Miami. I think will get even better if they add a Giannis, or even Toronto, or any other of these teams that I mentioned earlier that are up and coming. So I just think Boston's window is already closing because of because of the conference being stronger, and also they're just too much. They're just too cash strapped.
All right, Steven's making some comments. He said both the Celtics and the Heat don't really have a process. I kind of agree with that. They just keep getting talent, keep reloading here and there. But I still like my Boston in that sense that they're going to have that talent. Also, they just stay consistently competitive. Like, that's a great comment to add. And Steven will say he will take the Celtics over the Heat. Furman, do you have any closing, I guess, regards or comments to who has a better future?
Well, I think you guys might have interpreted me incorrectly. I'm saying in 2020, if the Celtics are able to beat the Milwaukee Bucks and maybe the Toronto Raptors if they advance, they'll probably have the bigger potential because now they've proven that their star players, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, can take Celtics to the next level with regardless of the salary cap or everything. But I do like to say that with my point when I mentioned the Heat, they need to go after a superstar player in the free agency. I think that's key to their future. If they're able to land that one superstar player that they can rely on in tight situations, probably like a Giannis, if they could just score whenever they want to, if the offense doesn't work out, that's the type of player they need in order to become a championship contender. And I do believe like the Heat has the potential to do it because they just need to. They already have a good offense, and I just really hope that they go after that one key player. It's not Jimmy Butler. I'm sorry, but there's got to be someone like Giannis on their team.
Spot on. But we are going to hit our Power 5 segment, guys.
Go.
I'm excited for it. So I'll cue the theme, and I'll tell you what the Power 5 segment after the theme. And let's begin.
Hit it.
All right, today's Power 5 segment. Steven, do you want to hop on this Power 5 segment? I will add you into it. Awesome, my friend.
Yeah.
So the Power 5 segment today is top 5 burgers.
I tell you what's not going on my number one. Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. I'm hating it.
Isaiah, I'll let you kick us off. What are your top 5 burgers?
Yes, thank you, Trevor. All right, before I get into this, though, my guy Callum McClurg, I got to tell you, my friend, that don't worry, man. You won't have to, call the cops on me to get me drug tested because I'm not putting the Egg McMuffin as my number one. So just to get that out there. But number one has got to be the cheeseburger, the OG, man. The cheeseburger is the OG. The charbroiled.
Wait, is that your number one?
No, that's my number 5.
Okay.
Did I say number 1?
It sounded like you did, but I don't know. Go.
Oh,
sorry.
I mean, hey, I'll go from 5 all the way to 1, but
All
my
right.
number 5 has got to be the cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is the OG, like I said before. The charbroiled patty with the cheese melted on there and the bun, plus the ketchup and the pickles, man. It's perfect. I mean, you gotta have the cheeseburger on any burger list. If you don't have the cheeseburger on like your burger list, I'm sorry, man, but your burger list is irrelevant. So the cheeseburger is my number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna go with the chili cheeseburger. I know this is gonna enrage Trevor because I told Trevor that about the chili cheeseburger today, and he was like, no, chili cheeseburger does not belong on the list. But Trevor, I hate to break it to you, yes, it does. Because listen,
Yes,
you've got
sir.
the patty with the cheese, and then you've got the chili. Oh, it is so good. The third burger I've got on my list, number 3, is the salmon burger. I don't know if a lot of you guys might have had it or not. I know salmon burgers are very, very expensive, but the salmon patty, I'm a big fan of it because I love salmon. And then you've got the Swiss cheese on it, plus the guacamole. Oh my God, man. It just makes my mouth water. Number 2 on the list is the teriyaki chicken burger. Where you can find this burger is from Counter Burger. This burger, you've got the whole wheat bun, and then you've got the teriyaki chicken patty, or the chicken patty. Plus, they've got this special teriyaki sauce, which is extremely good. It's one of the best sauces at the Counter Burger. And then last but not least, they have the one perfect ingredient. I already see Trevor looking down. He's going to walk off the set when I say this, but it's the pineapple. The pineapple just... The pineapple just completes the teriyaki chicken burger. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Isaiah, pineapple does not belong on pizza or belongs on a burger. I hate to break it to you. Yes, it does. Pineapples belong on pizza and burgers. Grilled pineapples are the best, man. Whatever thing that has pineapple on it, I'm a huge fan of it. And last but not least, number 1, it's got to be the McDonald's Angus mushroom and Swiss burger. I don't think they have it anymore. I think they took it out like a couple months ago, but this is my favorite burger of all time. You've got the artesian soft bun, and then you've got the Angus patty, which is like this thick, which is amazing. It's really juicy. They've got some garlic butter on it, which makes it even better. And then you've got the mushrooms, the cheese, the Swiss cheese, and then you've got the mayo. It's just perfect, man. It's a 5-star burger. McDonald's, you should be ashamed of yourself that you took that burger, because that was your best burger in your restaurant. And I'm so disheartened that it's gone. I can't believe you took it out, man. 5-star burger, and it's gone now. It just sucks. But that's my that's my top or Power 5 burger list. The mushroom and Swiss is the number 1.
Isaiah, I will add one comment before I get to Furman's list. Why are you putting healthy fruit on greasy food? Who does that? That just sounds nasty. You're trying to be healthy and great greasy and nasty at the same time? That is outlandish. That doesn't need to be on there. Only veggies and vegetables belong on pizzas and burgers, not fruit. There's a difference. Furman, take away with your list.
So Isaiah, you have anything else to say?
Oh, yeah, I just have one thing to say before you can go, Furman. Listen, we've had this debate for so many years now, and that is, does pineapples belong on pizza and burgers? I did a survey a couple weeks ago, and majority of the people that voted for yes were the people on the West Coast. The majority of the people that voted no were the people on the East Coast. So I guess it's like a West Coast, East Coast thing. I live on the West Coast, so I love pineapples because it's like a coastal thing. So that's why I have pineapple in my burger. It's just so good.
Furman, take it away.
All right, man. I'm really surprised. I don't know how pineapple tastes good on a burger. It's like sweet and sour, sweet and salty.
Thank you.
I can't tell which one tastes better if you put them both together. But all right, I'll move on with my list right now. So for me, for the top 5, at number 5, I definitely put on some. It's gotta be the fresh cheeseburgers. If you go to any burger chain out there, they probably have McDonald's. They come out from the fridge or something, or the freezer. They gotta defrost it or something. That's not something I enjoy. I gotta get something fresh and right out of the grill. And I think one of these definitely only local people would understand this or hear of it. It was Mission Burgers. Also. I got a shout out to my dining hall. They made fresh burgers where I went to. These were really good. They came out extremely fresh and tasty, and that's exactly what I like about it. Number 4, I'd have to go by budget. I'm sorry to all the haters I'm sorry to all the fans out there, but In-N-Out is my number 4. It's my 4th best burger on the list, and I love In-N-Out's unique style of burgers. Their buns are definitely something that it tastes really good. it tastes fresh. I don't know how they make it, but it is one of the best high quality buns out there. The Thousand Island dressing makes their burgers even more tasty. And plus, it's also in a really good budget. I could buy probably 3 or 4 of these, even 4 double doubles, and just eat all of them at once. And that'd be 5 times the amount of my regular course meal that I would get from anywhere else. So that's my number 4. And number 3 on my list, I gotta give it to Habit's Charburgers. It doesn't matter what Charburgers you get from Habit. I think this is just I think they came from SoCal, but also in the Bay Area, we've got some of these. Habit is really authentic, and they have like the most unique mixes into their burgers that makes it really good. And I'm just gonna have to start it off. I really hate pickles, and I'll never ever eat anything, not even a sandwich, that involves pickles, man. But with an exception of Habit's Charburgers, for some reason they have one of the best pickles, and combining that along with the rest of their patties, the ranch dressing, their melted cheese, it is one of the best burgers I've ever tasted. And because they've changed my opinion on pickles, I'm putting Habit's Burgers number 3 on the list. All right. So number 2 on the list, I'm gonna have to give this to every chain out there. Any chain that involves chicken sandwiches, they're number 2 on my list. I'm a big fan of it. Huge fan on Chick-fil-A and Popeyes for really bringing the tradition out of it. No patties, but a chicken stuffed in between the buns, and it is something that can never be replaced. You gotta have to try it out. You need to eat a chicken sandwich at least once in your life. It is not overhyped. It is definitely one of the best tasting burgers out there. So that's number 2 on my list. All right, so for number 1, this is probably one of the most unique burgers I've ever had. They're also really fresh, and also these are one of the biggest portions of burgers I've ever had in my life, man. I don't think a lot of people have heard of it, but Fuddruckers is number 1 on my list. Some people might think a lot of people might think I'm crazy on this, because Fuddruckers, a lot of people complain that they're expensive or that they're not popular. But I think Fuddruckers has the best burgers out there. They can give you literally a half pound to 1 full pound of a patty, and you can eat all of that right on the spot. Like if you're able to eat a huge portion, and you really want to just at least go out there, spend a little bit on one of the highest quality or best tasting burgers out there, you got to try Fuddruckers. They have a lot of different types of patties, and also a lot of combinations. It doesn't matter which one it is. It is a huge portion. It tastes amazing. It is a juicy burger, and it is worth it. So that is number 1 on my list.
Fantastic. Isaiah, I saw you wanted to add something about the pickle comment.
2 things. Number 1, Herman is absolutely right on Fuddruckers. Fuddruckers makes the best burgers ever. Listen, if you want the best quality burger, the best quality burgers are from restaurants that they charbroil their patty. They make it for you right when you order. They charbroil it on the grill or on the pan or whatever. That's the best type of burgers. And the thing I got to add about pickles is, Trevor, you know how you always say like pineapples don't belong on burgers or pizza or whatever? That my thing is, pickles do not belong on burgers. They are sour. They make the burgers weird, man. Just give me the meat. Just give me the ketchup on it, and the mustard and the cheese. But please, no pickles on burgers. No, no, no.
Isaiah, you need pickles on burgers. That makes a burger. Think about it. Without pickles, it's not truly a burger. Go to all those restaurants. They always give you a pickle, no matter if you ask for it or not. They will always give you a pickle because it's an American classic, and you can't take that away from a burger. Steven, I want to hear your list. Tell me what your list is.
All right, I wanted to go to top 5 burger chains at first, but I really liked Isaiah's list. Isaiah, your list was actually pretty solid this time, except for the Hawaiian burger, man. I don't know why you have that ranked so high. But at number 5, I'm going to have to one-up Isaiah with the double cheeseburger. That makes my number 5. I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Double the meat, double the cheese. Who can say no to that? At number 4, the chili cheeseburger. Freaking classic, man. Everybody loves chili. Everybody loves burgers. And everybody loves cheese. Nothing to not like about that. Number 3, shout out to Ashwin and all the vegetarians and vegans out there. The Impossible Burger. It actually tastes really good. And when you get it at Burger King, I think their Impossible Burger actually tastes better than their regular burger. Number 2, the pretzel burger, man. When you get the pretzel burger, it gets that extra tang in that burger. If you get the pretzel burger with jalapeno cheese, now we're talking. Now we're in business. I got a friend in Ohio, Adam Creech. He makes the best pretzel burgers in the business. So shout out to him. And number 1, the Bronco Burger, guys. If you haven't had a Bronco Burger before, it's a cheese and onions, fried onions. What do they call them again? Onion rings. Onion rings, cheese, barbecue sauce in the burger between the buns. Freaking delicious.
Fantastic. I got to reveal my Power 5. It was hard to come up with this list because I eat some of the same burgers over and over because I enjoy them. But the first, I will have to say, it's the cheeseburger from my number 5. It's the cheeseburger with the toppings to make it that almost that Krabby Patty feel. So you have the bun, the bottom bun, the patty, the cheese, the tomatoes, the onions, the ketchup, mustard, mayos, and lettuce, and the pickles. Put it on, put the bun in, boom. You got a nice classic American cheeseburger
The
right
pickles,
there.
Isaiah.
He forgot the pickles from SpongeBob. That's a good episode.
Oh,
there.
yeah, and he was hiding it under his tongue. I loved it.
Yep. So that's that. Number 4. So for me, I've been at the airport a lot and I've traveled across the country, gone overseas a few times. But when I go to the airport, I always stop at Smash Burger. Smash Burger just has some great quality burgers. If you don't want to deal with those fast food like Wendy's and McDonald's, Smash Burger is perfect when you're traveling. And that's what I end up doing when I'm at the Philadelphia airport. I always grab a bite and then I hop on my flight. So that's why I put my number 4, all the Smash Burgers that are out there. My number 3, I'm going to have to go with the barbecue burger at Chop Shop right up the street from me. So in Columbus, Ohio, it's Chop Shop. It's a great burger joint. I love it. But this barbecue burger has bacon, it has American cheese, a patty, and some onion rings, or sometimes it's shredded onion rings. And that's just it's just beautiful. And you have the barbecue sauce, and it's just like beautiful. It's finger looking good. So I'm stealing KFC on that one. I should say I'm not stealing, I'm borrowing it. My number 2, no, I'm gonna go with my number 2, and I will make it a buffalo burger. So the buffalo burger is a little more on the spicy side. So you have hot sauce on it, and you have blue cheese, give you almost that buffalo wing taste. You can swap it out from a beef patty to turkey or chicken and give you that different spicy tang. So I gotta have spicy on my list, and that's why I put it number 2. And my number 1, the OG, the one that everyone would love when you go to a restaurant like Applebee's or Outback, you always got to order a bacon cheeseburger. It's great. It's amazing. You have the crispy applewood bacon on there with the nice smoked wood beef patty, and it's just great to eat, and you enjoy it. That's the beauty of the bacon cheeseburger. It has like that breakfast to it, though you don't have the egg, but you could put the egg on it. It's just the versatility of the bacon that can add
Put the egg on it.
And it literally, you can create any other sandwich off of that
Put
bacon.
the
That's
egg
the
on it.
beauty. Put an egg on it. but that's what becomes a breakfast sandwich. And we're looking at burgers. And that is my Power 5.
Come on, that's still a burger, Trevor. That is still a burger.
Yes, it is. All right.
Hey,
Great
Trevor,
minute, Trevor.
before we wrap up the program, I just wanted to announce the results of the poll. So when it comes to which one is the hotter take, Martin, he had LeBron James as not a top 4 player in the NBA. His justification being that Giannis is better, Anthony Davis is better, Luka Doncic is better. LeBron's
Kawhi's
time
better.
is past. He's a member of the ARP now. That's what he's known as. Man, just so disrespectful. Have some respect, Martin. And then Trevor saying that Devin Booker is not going to my Minnesota Timberwolves or Isaiah's Lakers. He's going to the Orlando Magic. So, guys, the winner of the hot takes poll when it comes to which take is hotter, drum roll. With a vote of 62.5%,
Oh no, I didn't
Martin
win.
advances to the second round.
I didn't win. You all didn't believe my hot take was hot enough. I didn't have enough spice. My journey has been dashed off the leaderboards. I gotta wait for season 2 now.
Look, man, you guys have Evan.
And I got
Fournier.
one more thing to
Isn't
say.
that guy a shooter too, like
I-
Devin Booker?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Fournier is also a shooter. But I got one more thing to say before I take off, guys. I'd like to offer the fan shout out of the week, and that's to Matt Ong. I know he's not always like commenting our videos and laughing at Isaiah's failures, but he tunes into every single one of our Anchor podcasts, and he thoroughly enjoys Isaiah's moments. He's always personally messaging me about them. He thinks this show is hilarious as heck. He loves the show with Callan, Jonathan on Wild Sports. He loves me and Ryan. He just loves the network as a whole, and he's offered so much support for us. I mean, he's listened to almost every episode we've put up on Anchor. Matt, we appreciate the support. You don't know how much this means to us. This is, a boutique sports network. We're starting out small, but to have supporters like you, it just makes all the difference in the world.
Isaiah, any final ways to wrap us up tonight?
Yeah, man, it was a fantastic episode tonight. I love the when we got to the burger segment. That was like probably one of the best segments that we've done here on No BS. We've done a lot of great Power 5 ones, but I think this one is definitely on the tops of all of them. But yeah, it was a great show. Thank you to all the fans who tuned in tonight. Hope you guys were entertained and like educated by our takes on the respective topics that we had tonight. And listen, I really hope that everybody goes out on election day in a couple of months and goes vote, because your vote is you speaking out for change. So please go out and vote. And last but not least, I just want to make a quick announcement, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be starting our first ever MI6 Sports Network Fantasy Football League. This will be a real league. It's not going to be a BS league like last time with the points being so damn high. No, this is going to be a real league. We're going to have every member of the MI6 Sports Network be in the league, as well as some of our other friends. We might have a draft live on air one day. We're trying to plan all the logistics out, but stay tuned, man. The MI6 Sports Network Fantasy Football League for 2020 is going to be launched soon. You won't want to miss that.
Perfect. I want to add to your Power 5 segment. I think one day at a certain point in time, we could do a Power 5 segment on the best Power 5 segments. So that would be fantastic to listen and rewatch and be like, this was my favorite one. This was, on the top 5 cusp, but, it wasn't there to be number 1. Furman, do you have any other things to wrap us out tonight before we conclude?
I just want to say, thanks for having me on the show for No BS. It's my first time here, and the Power Five was really fun at the end. Just to wrap things up, talk about all the burgers and your opinions were really interesting. I'd like to give a shout out to Steven. Happy early birthday tomorrow, and keep running those polls. Those are also really entertaining. I just want to add on as a final word. I probably wasn't here when you discussed about this. I think Trevor Lawrence will be a bust because this dude, he looks great against bad teams, but he chokes, man. He choked against LSU and Joe Burrow. You can see why Joe Burrow is a number one pick overall this year. There's a clear distinction. There's a clear graph, and there's also a clear difference between Joe Burrow's number one pick versus Trevor Lawrence's number one pick next year. All right, so I'm gonna just have to leave it there. If you guys voted for my take, if you guys did not vote for my take over Jonathan Mathis's, I just want to tell you, if whatever I said is gonna be true in the future, if Trevor Lawrence is really gonna be a draft bust, just remind everyone who said it first. All right.
All right, Furman, I respect that. Joe Burrow, he's a special specimen.
All right. For me, I think we hit everything that we need to hit tonight. It was a pleasure to have you all on talking about some burgers, some great NBA topics. So I can't wait to, continue next week to see what else we have in the sporting news and wrapping us up. And that means, but, stay safe, everybody. Wear your mask, keep your hands, fresh and clean, socially distanced to the best of your ability, and stay safe and look after each other. We're all in this together. We're going to be able to beat this virus. Take care, everybody, and so long.
Yeah. 3-6, Mafia.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey. Yeah. Whoa. Say what? Whoa. 3-6 Mafia. It's going down. Y'all know what time it is. We ain't playing with you. In the club, in the street.